Hello. Okay. Thank you, Karma, for introduction. I'm Bartosz Idzikowski, and I'm a game and level designer for over a decade. But also, uh, I used to be a marketing manager on an indie studio for like 7 years already. Uh, yeah, it works now. Okay. So the topic of this talk is self-publishing on Steam, specifically on Steam, and specifically from the perspective of indie studio, rather small studios working on smaller games. Mm, Self-publishing and when and how should you do it to get it done right? So first things first, those are companies that I worked for and games that I contributed to, mostly as a game and level designer, but also as a creative director, producer, and marketing manager. And what's most important for the case of this talk is that the majority of my career was an indie studio that was self-publishing its games, and I was a marketing manager and one of people in an indie studio, so wearing many hats. I had quite a major contribution to this self-publishing process. Mm, And what's even more important, those games weren't something easy to market, something easy to work with, especially considering Gloria Victis, which was an indie self-funded MMORPG that for some reason didn't fail miserably. It succeeded for quite a while. Yeah, so
Which one is that?
Gloria Victis, the bottom one. This is a single player game on this IP, and this is a deck builder in Purgatory, where you play, for example, as Joan d'Arc fighting demons. Something quite difficult to market, actually. Okay, so the assumption of this talk is that we are talking about games that are going to have some kind of, commercial success, to generate profit. This is not always the case. Some games are made only just as a state of art or for the joy of creating. But for the case of this talk, we are talking about a synergy of two completely different disciplines, art and business, that as in the yin yang case, interconnected each other in a commercial product, creative product, as was already perfectly described by Yura, that don't come up without the other ingredient. And they are pretty random, as yin yang is. So, yes, we are talking about the commercial product. We have to think out how do we measure the success, because success is something that we are craving for. And here comes success metrics. That's something that we have to establish pretty early on, regardless if we are going with a publisher or self-publishing the game. And the two types of success metrics are quantitative. For example, how many copies of the games we will sell, what will be the revenue of our game, what revenue will generate every single player or average player or the total player revenue in the end, a number of different statistics. What is the wishlist count, especially for the games that are still yet to be released? And for example, followers numbers, which is important on Steam because it's one of the very few visible statistics. So if you are talking to a publisher or investor, the followers number, unlike wishlist, is visible publicly. And then we have qualitative success metrics coming more from the art perspective, which is, for example, the player satisfaction that can be measured by the review score or by the sentiment. So what the players are talking about the game, what is their tone of speech in the internet, what the reviewers say, even if the review is not that great, were there elements that they loved. Then we talk about player retention, so keeping the player engaged and returning to the game. especially important for games with longer lifespan. MMORPG is one example, but all kind of mobile games and also games with repetitive loop. I think even Goat Simulator could count in. And then, for example, awards. If we are getting any recognition coming from being awarded or even nominated by a variety of organizations, that's something, giving you prestige, giving recognition and kind of awareness, both in terms of the project and the company, and in the end, the business opportunities. Releasing a game that doesn't sell that well, but gets good review score and good recognition, is usually an opener for bigger deals with, let's say, less shady publishers. Good opener. You need a good game to create good games. It's pretty simple, right? Yeah, but to publish a game means quite a lot of responsibilities, and we can divide them into promoting the game, brand. Let's stick to brand promotion for a while. It's not only making big flashy ads and banners, but also figuring out what the game is, how to sell it to the player, and finding the target audience, reaching this audience that you actually are selling to. It is not that obvious. It's, for example, I know some indie marketers that were trying to get as wide reach as possible, so they were just targeting everybody who likes medieval times at all. Which, if you count, for example, meta target groups, it gives you tons of people, thousands, millions, who will never play your game because they don't have Steam. So finding the audience is a big part of promotion. Then creating the message that will fit them and speak to them, speak to their heart and soul, get some desire for the game is another part. Then we talk about branding, which is super important now in these in the times where every game that is successful is instantly copied and cloned in some Asian country. Then pricing the game, super important thing, because whatever the game you are making, if it's priced wrong, you will not make money out of it. And worse than that, you can even get much worse visibility of your further games if the game doesn't make money on Steam. That's how Steam works. And then the actual art, let's say art of releasing, something that requires caution, precision, and sometimes gut feeling. On top of that, all type of public relations and community management. You need to talk to the players. You need to find out influencers who will play the game. Talk to media. And the last but not least, validating your product on the market, assuring that first it actually has the target audience. Second, it is a quality product the players want. Third, you don't miscommunicate your game to the target audience, because if you do, they will refund the game or leave you negative reviews, which is worse. Then challenges that come with publishing a game, starting from having insufficient resources. It's easy to, let's say, okay, it's not easy, but it's way easier to budget a game because we have quite a lot of knowledge around there that we can use to find out how to make a game that we would like to. There are tons of creative nuances that we will have to discover during the game development process, as Yura said. But it's kinda something that you can measure. Coming to marketing is a completely different world, because you never know what will work. Absolutely never. It's super difficult to replicate the success of one game to another. And now we start talking about calculating how many money, time, whatever do I need to get enough wishes to make the game break even. Then comes the competence gap. Successful marketing requires a specific skill set, usually not by a single person, but by a group of people that have some kind of, proper direction, proper leadership. In these studios, usually we are underfunded. We don't have enough people, enough manpower, so there will surely be some competence gap that we have to work out smartly. There's a huge competition on the market, and the reports are pretty bold about that. It's still more than 10,000 games released on Steam every single year, which means pretty a lot games released daily, every single day. Not even taking into account Silksong example. And publishing is quite an engaging process. Actually, it requires a full-time job to get it done right. At least in specific phases of the marketing process. So now the question is, should you go with a publisher? That's the institution, let's say, of a public trust, let's say, that gets your game on board and should know how to publish it, how to handle the marketing and promotion. So the pros, there are quite many pros. One is that the publisher will often fund development. Not always. It's important to know that starting studios will have difficulty to get money, advance payment to make the first game. But this can happen. Usually not that much money, and it requires much more than a game idea. It requires a solid prototype or perfectly early alpha. The publisher will also deal with platforms, and you can hope that they will know what they do, that they know how to apply a build on Steam, how not to mess up the release date, how to handle with the Nintendo support, which is super fucking difficult to do. And you can get 2 months of ping pong process. Yeah, just to find out that for 2 months they were rejecting your build because in the main menu it was click a button instead of press a button. Publisher is usually the side of the process that covers localization and quality assurance of your game. Usually, not always, but they should do it. They are the ones who actually should promote the game. It's the main part of the publishing deal. And they will handle contacts to press and influencers, content creators, and journalists. Which means that you should be able to focus on working on the game, on developing it, completing it, and making it as good as possible within the given time so that your artistic vision can actually be delivered. But
Greatest lie.
yeah, first of all, by the moment that you start working with a publisher, there is already someone who participates in revenue. It starts from 30% at best, and assuming that there is no funding provided, can lead up to even 80%. So that's the risk that you have to calculate and be aware of early on. Then, before you get your cut, the publisher will deduct all costs that were made by them, covered by them on the publishing side. So all the cost of the paid marketing on social media, all costs of representation of your game on expos, on physical events. That's the money the developer will need to get paid back from the sales of your game before you even get your share. And if the game was funded by developer by the advancement payment, this advance payment also has to be paid back before you get your share. So if the game, for example, costs 100k of euro, and the developer is paid in advance all this money, then cost of publishing the game is 50K. It means that unless the game sells enough to cover those 150K, you don't get any single dollar of your revenue. With some small exceptions, I know publishers who offer some small percent from the first copy, but also there is a catch, as always. And from the moment the publisher is in this equation, you are no longer independent creatively. You have someone you report to, and those usually are guys who kind of understand the genre, understand the market, but it doesn't mean that they will get exactly your game right. They might get idea, okay, it will be much better if you remove this feature, focus on that, and go on. Example revealed pretty not that far ago. Linkin Park was told by the publisher that they should get rid of the rapping part. So it would be just another rock band. They were stubborn. They, made their stand that the rap part remains in this band. The rest is history. But the label wasn't originally open to this idea. Then, assuming that your game is right and had a good, successful release, you would like to maybe make a sequel or create a good franchise. Usually, the publisher is already given rights to the IP and sequels, which also means that they will handle a part of the revenue, regardless if they do good or bad job on the marketing part. And also, in most cases, you can't, but the publisher can terminate the project at any given time, at any fucking random reason they will give you.
With no penalty.
Yeah. If you would like to do it, you have to give the game back and all the money back. That's a pretty fair, pretty fair deal in game development. There are much worse ones. So, one final point: game publishers are also human beings like us, and they make mistakes too. So, no matter their intentions, they can be the best. They can still make mistakes and fuck up your game. I heard about an example where publisher just clicked publish the game when it was uploaded as early pre-alpha, scheduled for release next year, and it was not something that they couldn't recover, broken beyond borders. Shit happens, right? The publisher just made a mistake. Actually, one guy misclicked on Steam. 5 years of development thrown into a bin. Okay, so in the end, you have to remember that if the game has a success, publisher will be eager to talk about it, to be the father of the success. But failure is an orphan. If the game sells bad, if it gets bad reviews, all future support, all attention from the publisher will be suspended immediately. You will be cut off of the project, and usually you will have to go on with a dead IP that you can't even use. Does it mean that the publisher is a bad thing? Does it mean that you have to go for self-publishing? No, it depends. It's not an easy question to answer. But we can help it with some smaller questions to answer right now. If you or your team are, engaged in the project so much that you are passion driven, you don't have to work, keep your work-life balance. You know that if you have to crunch all the time, you will be happy because that's something that you love. It's your labor of love. If you are comfortable with making mistakes and failing and learning from those mistakes, if you are humble. You don't listen to your ego. You know that your communication skills regarding the marketing are something that you have to improve all the time. If you are seeking independence, you don't want to listen to anybody and take things into your own hand, no matter if it will bring you into good times or bad times, because bad times will always happen, and you are stubborn as fuck, then the answer is not no, it is maybe. Because once publishing the game specifically on Steam, that's the case that I'm mostly comfortable with due to my experience. There are some common mistakes that you can and most likely you will do on your first or second game. The first group relates to the promotion process. Two main things is starting the promotion too late or too early. Too late means okay, maybe you've seen Reddit posts, many of them titled, "Okay, so I made the game and I would like to release it. What should I do now?" The answer is forget about this game, make another one, and start marketing it 6 to 9 months before release. Marketing it too early is also an issue because on Steam we are talking mostly about collecting wish lists, which are kind of our ticket into making the initial week okay. And the initial week is something that decides how the game will sell over the next year and year 2, year 3. If the week 1 is super poor, you have a very, very slight chance to recover from that. So if you start promoting the game too early, the problem is that the initial wishes that you collect at the beginning will get super old and people will already lose interest, lose emotional connection to the game that they wishlisted, which is worse every year as the Steam users get more used to the wishlist feature. So it's now not any longer saving games that I will definitely buy. It's just a bookmark. So if you promote too early, there's a chance that a huge amount of your initial fans will just forget about the game, and when it comes out, they will wait, see if the other people like the game, maybe wait for a discount, But there's something that dilutes the initial sales on the week 1, which again is super important to get a proper income on the first year. I will explain why a bit later. Second is wasting the major builds that we have, and it's super important to remember that major builds like gameplay trailer, release date announcement, the first demo, joining Steam Next Fest, this pool of builds is super limited. It's not set for for all the games. It can vary a bit, but it's not unlimited. And every time you try to reach out to influencers to get some decent press coverage, you need to come up with something fresh and exciting. That's the idea. Before the players know about your game, you need to have people who can talk about your game, so they will get excited. But for them to do it, they also need to see the added value for them. So fresh stuff is something that buys you a ticket into getting press coverage and getting your game on YouTube. But if you waste them, it means that you just have them anymore. For example, launching the Steam page without a trailer and without a demo, or just launching the Steam page with a demo that wasn't announced properly before. It means that usually only a few hundred of people will see the game, and that's it. Waste opportunity when you can aim at thousands or dozens of thousands. Then one of the most common mistakes is not optimized store page, which means no trailer or bad trailer that doesn't show gameplay, screenshots that are only showing nice art but without UI, description that is boring and nobody cares, lack of GIFs in the description, and so on. That's something that can also, damage your effort, because if a Steam customer gets to your page, they won't convert, and there's a low chance they will try to do it again and convert on the next time. So yeah, next thing, doing marketing mistakes on social media, like trying to instantly convert to wishlist, or making posts without any call to action, or focusing on posting screenshot Saturday all the time. So in the game, developers will see about your game and give you a thumbs up, but nothing more. Not to say that it's not useful. It can be quite a powerful tool to kickstart your campaign, but you must know when to kick off and go another leg. And then mistakes that affect the release phase is, for example, misunderstanding platforms and, let's say, treating the Steam like it's just Google Play Store or Switch Store, forgetting about all the tools that we have there, or trying to turn it into a social media with just a regular feed, no matter what is the content quality that we post. Then diluting effects of your efforts, for example. Wait a moment. Sorry. Lost thought about this one. Maybe I will get back to it later. Okay, setting wrong release date. For example, releasing at the same time that Silksong or GTA 6 is usually not the best idea, but also you can plan the release in time when the spring sale starts. That's a killer, because your game won't be visible on the main page because it's getting a custom overlay for this huge event, and tons more of them. Mismatching audience. Promoting your game to people who will never like to play it, or even worse, mismatching the communication on Steam. It also can be related to translating the game to languages that you don't have in game, which ends up in, for example, Turkish players, sorry Berkay, getting into the game, seeing that there is no Turkish localization, so they quit the game, write a negative review, and refund. It's not only a Turkish player case scenario; it happens frequently. For example, with all the Asia, and making mistakes with the pricing, starting from setting too high price or releasing the game free. Both options are bad, because if the game is too cheap or free, if the game is free, Steam won't promote it because it doesn't make any money. So, and the algorithm of discovery queue and more like this on Steam work purely on money per hour, money per day, a very short period. So free games get lost unless they have huge virality outside of Steam. The other issue is regional pricing that can be set too high. There was a change a couple of years ago in the Steam backend that it boosted up regional pricing in growing regions, let's say, for example, Argentina or Turkey.
Not anymore.
That's one big issue. Okay, it was meant to solve the problem of people buying games via proxy in cheaper countries, but in the end, it caused a lot of people from those countries not being able to buy as many games as they did, and that's something that you have to take into consideration. That maybe those default settings aren't the best ones. Okay, so if you would like still to go for the self-publishing, it is pretty simple. You have to do it right, obvious. But let's talk how to do it effectively. Promotion. Going indie way, that's important. There are different styles of marketing a game, of promoting your project. One is going super big, like AAA studios do, which means having banners of time on Times Square, having custom Red Bull line, distributing codes on Red Bull to Destiny, DLCs, and so on. The second way, totally opposite, is the indie way, which has a lot of similarity with the grassroots marketing, with guerrilla marketing. Getting your your game everywhere you can get for cheap or for free. A lot of cebula deals. To do it, you have to understand the strengths of your game and focus on them, because you won't have resources to focus on everything and to cover up all these shortcomings that your game will have, especially in terms of the marketability. Then the other important factor is to build a funnel system. I will explain it in a while to those who are not familiar with this term. That will help you structurize your communication, your promotion materials in a way that it is actually effective, that you don't misfire every single post to people who are not engaged yet. Once you start doing it, have a funnel system and know what are the strengths of the game, so you can do good communication. You should measure those actions, those efforts. Pick up the ones that are most effective and get your limited resources focused on those specific actions that actually get you results. Trying to go wide, experiment with different ideas is okay for the beginning phase, but then you have to focus on stuff that works. Once it's actually working and you see that you are coming along to the goals that you set in the beginning, super important, know where you are heading. Then you can start to experiment again once every few weeks, come up with some crazy idea that works for other game, but have this solid line that actually works. So, for example, I know that my game isn't good for streaming. That was the case of Gloria Victis. It wasn't good for streaming it on Twitch because we had an open PvP in the open world, and streamers were hunted all the time, just because players knew position due to landmarks, and they were able to get the party riding over every streamer. It was extra content for them. They liked it. The streamers not so much. So we knew that we need to actually communicate not to streamers but to guilds, to communities. So Reddit was much better option than, for example, Twitch. Then once your actions actually do something and you know that you are getting on traction, you have to aim your efforts to create the snowball effects. And why are we talking about Steam? It's the only platform currently available wide platform that gives you access to tools that actually multiply your marketing efforts for free if they are good enough. There were cases like Lysara that made something good, something viral with a bit of luck, viral post on Reddit that then later on made a lot of more indirectly. In this case, it was one Reddit post that generated 10k wishes during just a week, and then over the next month they collected 40k wishes, not because of this Reddit post, but because of the discovery queue algorithm that was triggered by this huge influx at once, and the snowball started. The game was organically promoted by Steam itself. there's something super important to know when working with this platform. You can multiply your results like even tenfold compared to the regular performance marketing. And seek any leverage that you can get regarding marketing and promotion. So if you can get to any festival on Steam, if you can get it for free or very cheap, like $100, do it. It's much better than going to Gamescom with your game, because usually expos are not getting you anything regarding promotion. It's something that can help you get investor or publisher, or there's more likely to happen, another AI localization studio that will want to work for your money. Okay. If your game is streamable, has some nice graphics and can be shown in a nice way on YouTube, you should do whatever you can to get interest of content creators, which also sounds super easy, right? Just get it done. Actually, it's quite a tedious work of getting hundreds of YouTubers and Twitchers on your list, trying to scrap the emails, reaching out to each of them, and also doing it in a moment where you are offering them something fresh, like, hey, this is my first preview demo, wasn't published yet publicly. We are going to announce a public demo in a week, so we will be the first one to play it. Maybe you would like to. That's much better than, hey, I just released a game. I have 500 wishes, nobody cares. Here's the key. Maybe you would like to play. Influencers, if you are getting them right, and even if they are small numbers, like 5K subscriptions on YouTube, that's something that can actually get you a change in the sales. And making a good use of your demo, that's something that every game should do on Steam, unless it's super short, like 30 minutes. But if it's not, if it's a bit longer game, mechanical game, let's say, with with focus on systems, then I would say building a demo strategy is something that you should go for. And don't start promotion until you know what you are doing, until you know how to sell the game, and until the game is ready to be shown to people. If it's still full blockout, usually you shouldn't show it. The exception is PI Mouse, which showed blockout levels just with Mickey Mouse, and that was a boom. But you need to have a really good hook to overcome this issue. Okay, getting a step back to the funnel system. The idea of a funnel is simple. We are getting people from a wide audience, narrower, until we convert them into customers and true fans. That's a difference that I will explain in a while. The first step is gaining awareness about the game, making people knowing it even exists. So, for example, we can use a gameplay trailer as a marketing bit and use the call to action to ask the viewer to hit the like button on YouTube or on Instagram or TikTok. So the next time that we send out a message, we can address the new message, the new asset to people who already liked our content. We can try to get them consider the purchase in the future. So, for example, we announce the demo will happen in a while. How to make the player attached to us a bit more? We are telling them to follow the channel, to follow the account, the profile, to not miss the demo when it's out. And then when the demo hits, goes live, then we can convert the player to actually get on Steam and check out the demo. And later on in the build of the demo, at the end slate, leave a call to action, which is the game if you liked it. That's one of the ideas for making a funnel or of a game. And once this happened, people who are following, people who already have the game in the library, are people you can message all the time, reach out directly, for example, via Steam News. So if you are going to have your AMA session, for example, on Discord, then you can try to trigger them to join the Discord. So you have even better connection to them, even better access to actually message those players. And people who get into Discords usually are those who will be vocal about your game and talk to friends about it. So true fans. Okay, so we are kinda coming to the end. Some good practices and recommendation for releasing your game. Starting with the release compared to pricing. First, do solid research about the launch date. Do not get into seasonal sale or big festival. Probably Hidden Objects Festival is not something that will be, a danger to you, but Screamfest on Halloween, yes, that's something that you should be rather avoiding. Also, take a look at uh, dead zones in the calendar, like January, which is right after the Christmas, and Steam is not the best way to. Okay, January is not the best month to sell on Steam. Similar December because of the winter sale, and November because of the triple A's releases. In most cases, shadow dropping your launch like Silksong did, or early access, it's not something that you should do. In case of shadow drop, it's simple. Silksong had millions of wishes for years, and people were actually expecting it after super successful first game. If you don't have this kind of following community, this big community, it will be a fail in most cases. And for the early access, it used to be, let's say, a cheat code into the industry to get a game that is kind of working and can already be sold, even if it's choppy and unpolished. Because it got the same promotion from Steam. One important factor: when the game is coming to release 2 weeks before, Steam starts promoting it organically a bit, depending on how many wishes you already have. If the game has like 10, 8k of wishes before this moment, it will appear on the popular upcoming section on the main page of Steam, which is super important to get. It actually sets you a goal to get 10k, 8k of wishes before those 2 weeks, before 2 weeks counting period starts. It is achievable in most cases. You just know to. You just have to focus on it before. The problem is that early access games don't get into this section anymore for quite a while already. So if you have even hundreds, thousands of wishes and the game is popular, it won't get shown on the popular upcoming page when it is coming to release, which means that, for example, you can multiply 20k wishes up to 50k, but if it's early access, it won't happen. So my advice is don't do it unless you have a lot of money to, cover this gap by performance marketing, but it's expensive. Then keep optimizing the store page all the time from day one. Experiment with changes to key art. Make sure that the game is super visible and kinda, understandable for the customer in all the different views. Because, for example, when assuming that this is a store page, there are places where miniature is this big, or this big. The miniature has to be adjusted for all of them. Be smart with demos. I will show you in a moment one example of strategy that I'm working with. And do whatever you can to get the final marketing push on the last weeks before release, just to make sure that majority of wishes that you get will not be old on the release, so they will convert. The average conversion rate is 15% on the first week for wishes that are not older than 1 year. If they are not older than a month, this conversion rate increased. And by the moment that you launch the game, already be prepared that the players will expect some kind of post-launch support, so have a roadmap already prepared. Steam players are pretty used to it already, especially for indie games that from studios that didn't have any proper track record before. And once the game is live, take your time, reserve it to go through forums and the reviews. Forums are a simple case, right? People will talk about issues, about ideas. Not every ideas will be good, but it's still worth to talk to those people, to manage them politely, thank them for their ideas, their input, because they do it because they like the game. If they will be able to talk to you, developers, directly, it's something that can be, turning them into your, let's say, evangelists, advocates of your game. Talking to a solo developer is something that doesn't happen that often on Steam. For the reviews, some negative reviews can be turned back into positive ones if they are approached right. There are some ways to do it, but usually the best idea is to be a cool guy and first thanking out for feedback, then lining out that you are a small developer, but you do whatever you can to make the game as good as it could be, and simply thanking the person for the time to play the game and take the time to write the feedback. That's something that can convert you from 10 to 30% of negative reviews into positive ones, or just make those players remove the reviews.
Or become advocates.
Yeah, exactly. And for the pricing, research what's the pricing of your direct competitors and indirect competitors. If you are making a Slay the Spire clone and it's not having that much content as Slay the Spire, it shouldn't be more expensive than Slay the Spire. Quick example. Don't go free, don't go too cheap. That's what I talked about earlier. If the game is free, it won't get promoted by Steam. If it's too cheap, you will actually be gaining very, very little on discounts, and discounts will come. One important thing about launching the game is that you can have a special discount that can happen only on launch, for example, for a week or two. And this is the only discount that you can get in the first 30 days after release on Steam. General advice is do it. Can't remember now if it's 10% or 20% as minimal. Even the minimal one is better than none. I wouldn't go for any deep discount on the release week. Something like 20% is okay. Why? Because it teaches this fear of missing out effect. So the players some customers will jump on to buy the game even if they don't want to play it, just to make sure that they won't miss the occasion. Speaking about further discounts, don't go too deep too early. If your game gets 50% off on the first seasonal sale, it is a message for the players that the game doesn't do well and it's shitty and it is overpriced, and they can wait until it's 80% off. Adjust the default regional pricing to make sure that the game isn't too expensive in places where people won't be able to pay that much. Also do competition research. For example, SteamDB is a good resource to see prices in all the currencies on Steam for every game. And speaking about the release strategy, that's one example of my own unfinished project. So all of this is already irrelevant, so I can share it with you. My idea is that I usually start working with timelines from the end, from the release date. So I have a release date, and I know that I am going to achieve some kind of threshold of wishes that can push me into the popular upcoming. Let's say it is 10K. What can I do? One of the ideas is getting my game on Steam Next Fest. And for specific reason, it is placed by the very end, not by the very beginning. Because first, Steam Next Fest is a place where tons of demos and attention span of a customer is super short. If the demo is rough, unfinished, unpolished, and choppy, the player will usually, just turn off the game unless they are super engaged and waiting for the title. They already have 20 more to play, and only have 1 week to play them all. So, time is ticking. The idea is that before you get on the Steam Next Fest, which can only be done once per game before it's released, and only before it's released, you have only one Steam Next Fest festival for your game. Before this happens, you should have a demo published on Steam. Probably not for all the time, but just for a short moment, like a week or two. But you should do it independently, just to find out how is the game being received by the players, if they like it, if there are issues, if it works on all the configurations, hardware configurations. Test it out, gather feedback, improve on. It's a process that you should repeat a couple of times. In this case, it was super short time frame for the campaign. I wanted to try if I can make it. Yeah, but crunch in my daily job stopped my ideas. So the demo can be refreshed, updated, and posted for another week or two every couple of months, just to get the feedback after improvements. But to have a successful demo release, you also need to make sure that someone will play it. How to do it? We can go back into sparking interest and getting awareness. Influencers are something that works great for this kind of action. So sending out a demo that is good enough for them, you have to make sure that it's playable. But reaching out influencers with something fresh that hasn't been seen yet can be super opportunity for them, because they can show something fresh on the channel, which is an added value for them too. So before you publish a demo, you can attack some influencers that are targeted for your gameplay, for your genre. Play different games, which is important. They are not, only Counter-Strike players. Or only MMORPG players, and reach them out to get interest before the demo actually hits Steam. Next, you actually have to send it before, and before you send it, you need to have a working Steam page, because otherwise, what's the point of doing it, right? If the players will see a cool game and won't be able to add it to wishlist, there is a super huge chance that they will just forget about it over the next few weeks and will never be able to find the game again. So before we contact influencers, there should be already a live Steam page. And Steam page means creating assets. For example, trailer or even a teaser. Just 30 seconds of a cool gameplay moment. Perfect example is a game about digging a hole, which made tons of money just due to a 30-second video that showed the core concept of the game. Of course, a lot of luck, but without this teaser, this trailer, the success wouldn't happen. Another idea how to fill the gap, as you can see, there's quite a lot of nothing happening. Another teaser or another trailer, but this time with a release date, and it's something that you can send out to press, to media, and share on your socials. So it also happens as a fresh news. The game is actually heading to be released, and it is happening soon. Let's hope on. And usually there will be some requests for Steam keys before the launch. Many of them will be scams, but that's also the moment where you should start working out on the another influencer campaign. That's for some reason I forgot to add here, but this should happen something around there. Yeah, and this is kind of the end of this talk. If you would like to read more about in details, because due to time limits, I wouldn't be able to cover everything. How to market a game is a super useful resource on especially indie marketing on Steam. Please be aware that it's not always right. It's made by one person who is spending, I think, already decades on tracking and analyzing the indie marketing by empiric data. The conclusions usually are correct, but rather think of it as a initial guideline that you later on have to research more. Then Derek Liu's website is a super meaty blog about making trailers by a guy who made tons of trailers that are top class from indie to AAAs. And two case studies that I always like to share is Lejsara Summit Kingdom, Polish city builder on top of a mountain that broke the market with a smart and small campaign on social media, and the Rift Breaker, and yeah, I think I forgot to paste the final line, which is a game that actually got into mainstream on Twitch because they made one single feature just for streamers, which is a nice idea to I'm not sure if it will work anymore, both of those games, but analyzing them will get you more open mind to think how to do things differently, how to experiment with promotion. If you would like to, ask for more details about those two, we can just talk about it by the beer. Thank you. Any questions?
You told that, for example, January is bad moment to release the game, but it's small studios can take advantage of that specific concept that when there is no one who releases the game in January because sales are bad, maybe some smaller indie studios can take advantage of this.
Great question. I don't know the answer, but I can tell you, for example, that there is a similar situation with releasing the game right after a spring sale or summer sale. That's something you absolutely shouldn't do it because it's bad. And from our experience, it was something that was kinda useful, kinda working. Because nobody had custom discount on this period. So if we had it, we collected all those remains of people who still had money by the end of this event. Or missed the event, yeah.
No one has money.
Yeah.
And you told that do not go too cheap. And what would happen if I will go for the maximum price with my game?
What is maximum? Sky is the limit, my friend.
On Steam, is there a limit?
No, I don't think so. If you go too high, the game can be just considered as too expensive, and gameplay to money value will be too low, so you will get a lot of negative reviews just because of it. But later on, you can discount the game heavily, and in some cases, you can even consider lowering the base price along the way, or selling the updated version with DLCs or deluxe edition at the same price or even cheaper. But it's a bit difficult, and it's usually best to hit the right spot at the beginning, which isn't always possible. It is always some kind of luck, but usually you can get the historical data of your competitors and extrapolate for your game.
Yeah, just one thing. You just mentioned that releasing the game during releasing like a sleep song game that is huge, right? So there is a huge article on how to market the game about it, and yeah, the answer is not that simple. In many cases, it might be even better for you because of the algorithm of Steam, and so you are in the top trending for when you release the game. You are much longer in the top trending because there is not so many releases that time. So there is an article on how to market the game. So
Yeah, I read this article, and to be honest, as with everything, as Yura said, nobody knows the truth, and it is also
there was a few cases when
It
was
depends.
a good decision.
Yeah.
Of course, you never know. Like Chronos made it, and
I
think it wasn't the best idea.
Chronos couldn't really postpone the release because it was a simultaneous release with physical copies.
Yeah.
So it's all set months ahead before the release happens, and even pushing it a day later is a logistical disaster.
Yeah, and also they spend a lot of money into marketing in Gamescom to release at that day. So
Yeah. Especially when you are releasing with a leverage that is a Gamescom launch and being the star of the evening. On the other hand, I think that cheaper games that are not even the same tier that this the big release like Silksong are safer because it's not comparing spending dozens of dollars versus dozens of dollars, but dozens versus a few. It's just sacrificing a cinema ticket. So yeah, it is a bit different.
Yeah, I have two questions. The first one, is there with early access, I think Steam allows for I think 4 or 5 pushes of your game within updates prior to release. Like if I think there is like 4 or 5 updates that they will push you when you are updating those, making those updates kind of like big, mark them with like this is a big update and they will push it. But after that, like you still don't get an extra push for the release. But is it still true? Like,
I think you mean the visibility round.
Yeah.
Which indeed sends messages and emails to people who have the game on wish list. It is getting million impressions. That's the limit, and has to be assigned to an update in general. It doesn't have to be a big update. We did it in some cases with smaller patches just to have something, because for the real time calendar, it was a perfect moment for us. For example, we've got into a festival that was good for us. So extra promotion was something that we used to get leverage, to get this maximum momentum on one day and get a snowball. You can use it to cover up the early access difficulties, but it still won't be as effective as getting your game on Steam page, front page.
Yeah, well, obviously. And the second question is regarding the wish list. For instance, like for us, we have been working on a game for a very long time, and it's already like 4 years. We are on Steam, and obviously that's the way we have accumulated a lot of wish lists. and probably like some chunk of them is very old. I think half of them probably. But the thing is, like there are a lot of games on Steam that are like in the top 100 are usually have been there for a couple of years. And do you have like any info? What do you think about like how effectively does like a good marketing push upon release reactivate those kind of like old wish lists that are there for have been for a while, but people haven't like on wish listed the game?
Okay. I will start with one thing. If you are in the top of the chart, you are already getting synergy. You're not only relying on the power of wishlist conversions on your own marketing, but also on being the top, being recognized. On the other hand, you can safely assume that there will be players, quite a lot of them in your fan base, that already forgot about the game or don't even remember quite correctly what is about, and that's where you apply remarketing, a campaign that can remind them about the game, like cool moments in the last episode of your favorite series on TV. Then another idea is showing what changed if the game was evolving, changing direction. And the final thing that works is having a demo and getting another round of awareness campaign 3 to 6 months before the release to get people interested in the demo and get them play so they are excited again.
Okay, thank you.
I think no more questions, so thank you.